Welcome, 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 one and all. This is episode 4 of Soul Food. We're halfway through episode 4 of Soul Food, where we just look at sneaker culture, filter that through the love of God, and hopefully we come up with applications that make sense to you. That is our hope. That is our aim. That is our goal. So today we're going to talk about the same is not similar. Similar is not the same. All right. So today's verse says, and this is the Message version. I love it. Then I'll give you the KJV. It says, don't become partners with those who reject God. Don't become partners with those who reject God. The one most of us grew up hearing is, be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers. For what fellowship has righteousness with unrighteousness? And what can communion have with light? What communion can light have with darkness? So how are we making partners with right and wrong, or partners of right and wrong? How are we combining light and dark and doing this foolishly? Well, how can we use this in sneaker culture? These shoes are similar, but they are not the same. This particular shoe is an Air Jordan 1. This particular shoe is a Nike Dunk. It's beat up. It's been through some things. It's been somewhere. It's been some places, but it was never intended to be paired with this shoe. This shoe looks a little brand newer. This shoe has not been where this shoe has been, and it was never intended for it to be together. This shoe was designed for Michael Jordan, by Michael Jordan to introduce, or for Michael Jordan by Nike to introduce him to the world. So you say, well, what does that have to do with me? What does that have to do with us? Just because these shoes are similar doesn't mean that they were intended to be paired. Does not mean that they were intended to be partners. Doesn't mean that they were intended to progress and process life throughout eternity, throughout the ages of earth, in the same box, in the same situation, in the same circle. So what was the shoe intended to have? And how can I know what is supposed to be my partner, and how do we become a pair? Well, if we look at Genesis 2, it says that Adam was laid down and Eve was taken out of his side. And then God presented Eve to Adam. And Adam says, this is bone of my bone and flesh of my flesh. And so Adam does 3 things immediately. He waits on God to bring him his partner. He had a need. It says that God saw that it was not good that man should be alone. Adam had a definite need, but he waited on God to fulfill that need. And so when God fulfilled that need, he fulfilled it by bringing him a partner, bringing him someone that was made to be paired with him, someone that was made to walk along this journey with him, someone that was intended to be by his side. And what did he do? He placed them in the garden. When you get a pair of shoes, you don't get them loose like this and they just show up together. No, they're given to you as pairs. They're given to you in a box, and then they're handed to you, and you take them on your merry little way. It's the same way with finding a partner. It's the same way. There's somebody who was made to be your other part. There was somebody who was made to be your other half, and that person has the same desire for God that you have. That person is somebody that God will bring to you. That person is somebody that God will pair with you. And he's intended, or she's intended, to go where God intends you. So he will give you a partner that will make you a pair. Then he will give you a place where you're to fulfill his purpose. The only thing that he's asking you to do is trust that in his time, all of these things will be made. So if you want God to bring you your partner, there's 2 things that you can do. You can trust and pray that when it's your time, he will reveal that person to you and give them to you. And secondly, what you can do is remove anyone and anybody that's standing in the way of God doing what God wants to do in your life. All right. So I don't have any questions for you this week. Just those 2 tidbits. Ask God who he has for you. And secondly, ask God to remove anybody that's standing in the way, that's keeping you from becoming a partner, a pair, and placing you where God has you on his purpose. May God bless and keep you. This has been another episode of Soul Food. Episode 4. We'll be right back next week. Same time, same place. I'll see you then.